Perry limited, TJ Bryant limited, Drew McAllister limited, Hayes Plard out, Marquise Simmons out, Glid Holmes limited, Butch Lewis full, Mike Reardon out, Mitch Mustaine limited, DJ Morgan limited, Xavier Grimble out. Patrick Hall was not here today. Yesterday Patrick was suspended indefinitely from the team. We have a team of 99% of the guys right now that are fully committed to being a championship student athlete on the field and off the field. We didn't feel like Patrick was doing that. We're extremely excited about the way our team is coming together, the way kids have had the first week of school and approach to it. And so Patrick may have a chance to come back someday, but not until he changes his focus on being a championship student athlete here at SC like the rest of our kids are doing right now. As far as practice, I thought the guys were good, especially after we lifted them early this morning. Then to come out here after a heavy lift, I thought they were good. I think that they're really turning towards the game, getting their mind right. We still have some young guys that don't quite understand what that means. This isn't high school anymore, so we'll continue to educate those guys on the way that we do things. Continue to nail this thing with our game plans as we get closer to game day.
With preparation and installation, how close are you to, or how close attention are you paying to what Hawaii's doing defensively?
Well, we've paid a lot. Obviously, we have no new stuff on them except to go off of last year, even though they've moved around some coaches. We've studied all their stuff from last year, studied this off season, we've studied it over the last 2 weeks with our players. So we should be ready to go. We should have no excuse not to be ready to go. We spent, this is our second week preparing for them.
What stands out when you look at their defensive personnel?
Well, I think that they cause you some issues on third down because they move around so much. Their secondary is a veteran secondary that did struggle at times last year, but then started playing better towards the end of the year. And I think there's 4 seniors back there, and they play hard, especially at home. So we're going to have our hands full, and really need to make sure that we've got everybody focused for this game. Continue to remind our players about things such as Appalachian State, Michigan. Make sure that our guys understand not to take anybody lightly with play.
What did Patrick Hall do to merit a suspension?
Just really a combination of everything. Just like you guys heard me say, we take everything into account. We look at everything. This was not one major incident by any means. This is not something that you're gonna, you can go and find that he did something really wrong over the last week or anything to have to do with the law at all. This is just this is a combination of everything coming together, meeting with him, and not feeling like he's got the same goals as the rest of our players do.
Do you think part of that has to do with an injury, having a major injury, and trying to come back from that, or does it matter?
No, that's an excuse. We've got a ton of guys that have come back from injuries over the years, including this year. That's not an excuse. We got guys going through it. There isn't a day you can go downstairs and not find Christian Atuku doing something down there trying to get better. He should have every excuse there is. Just looking forward to a great year, possibly moving on to the NFL, and had that taken away from him. So that's no excuse.
What do you think the Hawaii quarterback does well? What does he present?
Yeah, I think that their system in general, the ball gets off so quick, and he does a good job of it. That it's hard to get to him. It's hard to get a lot of sacks on these guys for as much as they throw the ball. You get so spread out too that once a guy starts to move around, there's a lot of space there. So we're going to have to do a phenomenal job of tackling in space because this is something completely different than anything that we show our guys. And so we've had to spend a lot of service team time on these guys because it's completely different than what we show them on offense.
It seemed like Bryce Butler had a pretty good day today. Has he responded well to not being atop the depth chart after he was coming out of spring?
He had a great day. By far the best day since I've been here, easily, that he's had. Was all over the place, making big-time catches. I think he had 3 touchdowns throughout the day. So that's great to see. I talked to our guys, I used Bradford for an example in the team meeting the other morning. I used his quotes that, one of you guys used in the papers, and it would have been very easy for Alan to bitch about playing time or make statements about he should be the starter, all these things, and he didn't. And he's come back and more focused and working hard. And, Bryce took that for an example, I think, and did that today. He could have been upset that a true freshman starting over him, and I tell him all the time, if you don't like where you are on a depth chart, play better. And so it's good to see him respond.
Do you have a captain vote?
We did, but it's not finalized. We did in the meeting, and then I came out here right after that. So we'll go in. We'll have those later today.
You get a tabulator?
I don't know.
What is the difference between split end and flanker?
Split end is what we consider the X. That's where Mike, Dwayne, Patrick played. Flanker is considered the Z. That's where Kerry, Steve played, and that's where Ronald plays now, and Robert is at X now.
I mean, is there differences you look for in terms of the style of player, the size of the guys, or what?
Yeah, it usually is a size thing, but it doesn't have to be. For instance, with Robert, he's not a big guy, even though he's over there. The Z a lot of times is the faster guy. He plays in the slot, moves around more, one-on-one matchups on shorter routes, and X is usually the bigger one-on-one outside matchup guy. A lot of times more physical, but it doesn't always mean that. And then a lot of other systems use them completely different than that.
Seems like.
Who will be in the booth for you?
We're still looking at that on one thing as far as on defense, but on offense, Johnny Morton will be up there. The other main guys will be down, and on defense, Willie Mack will be up there, and my dad's still contemplating whether going up or down. He has been down for a long time, but we've had some conversations about the difference. You come down in the NFL because the press box is of basically no value because you have the pictures on the sidelines. Here you don't. So he actually went up in preseason game 4 to experiment with it. So we'll decide here shortly.
Do you have any preference? Does it matter to you? Or?
No, I want to do whatever's the best, whatever he feels most comfortable with. I know that normally he would be very leery of going up if he didn't have this staff because, he doesn't have a voice on the sidelines, but to have this staff with Ed Ogeron and Joe Barry and Willie Mack, that they've been together so long, especially with Joe for all those years, it makes it real easy. It makes it a lot easier for him to go up, knowing that Ed can bring together the defense and know exactly what we want done, and so can Joe and Willie Mack's up there with him.
Got enough loud voices on the sideline?
Yeah, we do. We do. It's a loud headset.
Ronald Johnson, I want to say, has had a quiet training camp, but his name hasn't really come up much other than for you to say he's doing everything right. But
Yeah.
can you just talk about his camp, where he's at going into the season?
Yeah, I think we've gotten used to Ronald now, which is good. We've gotten used to him making plays, and so I don't talk about him as much because that's our expectation for him to do it. It has become habit. So he's done really well. He's stayed healthy, ready to go. In general, I just talked to our guys about it. This plan, we'll see if it pays off as far as the tackling and being able to play 4 quarters. But as far as health, this plan has been great. Look at your 2 deep and the health of your 2 deep going into the opener. More healthy than I could ever imagine because usually you've lost somebody. Our starting receiver, our number 1 receiver last year, didn't play. Because we had hurt him in camp. So I think we are really strong. We've had 17 lifts since camp started. I think if you took a poll around the country, I talked to the AA this morning, our strength coach, he talked to some guys, a lot of other teams have lifted 3, 4, or 5 times. So there's been some good sides to having not as much on the field time and more classroom and weight room time.
Okay.
All right, thanks.